Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
I want to start off by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Giving all thanks to our Heavenly Father, in the name of His only begotten Son, thanking them for another day, another breath of life, another opportunity to blow the trumpet in Zion. Lord willing, this lesson will be edifying, relevant unto salvation for the hopeful elect. And the title of this lesson is, I will stir up the Medes. World War III, Iran versus Israel. And we got the good news Saturday morning when we saw that Israel was attacked by Hamas, which is really just a proxy for Iran. Now, we're going to get into who the Iranians are according to the Bible, right? But I want to get the book of Joel chapter 3. But before we even get that, some might ask, well, why is World War III even good news, right? And the reason why it is good news is because this is Bible prophecy, man. And this means that we're going home soon. This is the book of Joel chapter 3. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations. You see, so it says, when the Most High brings back again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, that means that when He brings us back to Himself, right? And we are His captives instead of the captives of all these heathen nations, right? He's going to gather all the nations in the valley of Jehoshaphat. Where is the valley of Jehoshaphat, you might ask? The valley of Jehoshaphat, according to Google, is the Kidron Valley. And it lies between the old city of Jerusalem and the Mount of Olives. So, the final world war before Yahushua busts the sky, right, is going to happen in the valley of Jehoshaphat or in the old city of Jerusalem. You see that? Now we know it's going to affect the whole world, primarily Mystery Babylon or America, but the ignition point is in the valley of Jehoshaphat. We're dealing with Bible prophecy. So it says, I will gather all nations and bring them into the valley of Jehoshaphat or Jerusalem, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among all nations and parted my land. It's speaking about those fake Jews over there in Israel, who have indeed been the key benefactors of the transatlantic slave trade, pursuant to Deuteronomy 28:64 and Luke 21:24, where they sold us to all the nations as slaves. It says in verse 3, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they may drink. You see that? So I'm going to skip down now to verse 6. It says, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. But I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. You see, so that's what's getting ready to happen right now, man. And you need to ask your pastor or your camp leader, what is the meaning of this war in Jerusalem? And if he or she try to tell you something about God's chosen people are over there in Israel, then ask them, well, how come Isaiah 60:18 says that there shall be peace in all the land when the children of Israel, the real Israelites, are put back in the land? When there's been nothing but war between those so-called Palestinians, which are really Ishmaelites, and those so-called Jewish people, which are really Amalekites of the seed of Esau, ever since 1948 up to today, right? But anyway, America has already scrambled a battleship to go to that region of the world, man. They ain't wasting no time. This thing has already kicked off, man. This is World War III. You check it out? If you don't know what time it is, man, you're about to find out that we are indeed living in the final pages of this book. This war is going to polarize all the nations, man. Every nation on the planet is going to have to pick a side. You see? Because the Lord is stirring up the Medes. Let's get that in the book of Isaiah. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, verse 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Now, who are the Medes according to the Bible? The Medes were an ancient Iranian people and one of the ancestors of modern Kurdish people who lived in the northwestern portions of present-day Iran. And these Iranians, man, they call America Little Satan. And I believe they call the Jewish people Big Satan. Something like that, right? The Lord is stirring up in their hearts to attack America and attack Israel. That's what's getting ready to go down, and indeed has already started. And we give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Yahweh Shai for that. You see, because this means we get to go home soon. You understand? I think part of the last straw to break the camel's back, so to speak, in Iran were all of those protests from the Iranian people, particularly women who are rebelling against the different laws and customs that they have, where women are supposed to be subservient to the men and to cover themselves in public, etc., right? These customs that these ancient people have are what has preserved them, mainly the nuclear family. And now that feminism is reaching into even the Iranian culture, man, those Iranians ain't having that. Because they know that that's America's influence in their own cities and towns and country. You check it out? And they know that once they empower the women, or once women get empowered, society falls apart, man. And that's incontrovertible. Don't matter how you feel about it, it's just facts. So these Iranian people, or the Medes, are being stirred up through the spirit and power of Yahweh Yahweh Shai. This is the book of Daniel chapter 2 from the 20th verse. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of the Most High forever and ever. And his name is Yahweh, his son's name Yahweh Shai. For wisdom and might are his. And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. You see? So the Lord is who is raising up these nations and bringing them down. And we are witnessing the commencement of the destruction of Mystery Babylon, also known as the Chaldees, also known as America. You check it out. And we give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai for that. Because this means we get to go home soon. Isn't that great? This is the book of Proverbs 21, the first verse. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So, like Nebuchadnezzar's heart was hardened in Exodus 14, verse 4, these Medes are being stirred up, or the Iranians are being stirred up to attack America, starting with the attack against Israel. Because America is who financed Israel to the tune of billions of dollars per year, man. Those 1948ers, they going down, man. That's what's happening right now, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. That's why we know this book is a true book, because this book prophesied that the Iranians were going to attack Israel. And don't think that it's going to be just as simple as that, because you got China, you got Russia, you got India, you got Brazil, you got the so-called BRICS nations, right? That are going to all join up with Europe eventually and turn against America. Revelation 17 and 16 says the 10 horns, which are the European nations, shall hate the whore, and the whore is America. You see? Like we brought out in that lesson, America will lose the coming war. Let's get it again in Isaiah chapter 13, verse 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. So in other words, you can't buy these people off. You can't pay them off. They're sick of America just as much as we are. It says their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. So Babylon, or America, is about to be destroyed. Some might say that this is speaking about history that already passed, right? But it's not only speaking about history. Although Medo-Persia did conquer Greece, Medo-Persia is also going to conquer America, according to Bible prophecy. I want to go to Jeremiah chapter 51 now, starting with the first verse. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. And I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land. For the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Now when you go into that word fanners, the original Hebrew word for that is zur, or another, or a stranger, right? So it says that the Most High is going to send into Babylon strangers, and that they shall be round about her in the day of trouble. So what this is talking about is all those immigrants coming in from the southern border, right? A bunch of Iranians coming through there, man. A bunch of people from all over the world, right? Particularly those Islamic countries are coming through there. It's not only those so-called South Americans and Central Americans. You see? So a bunch of foreign nations are infiltrating America as we speak, to the tune of thousands per day. Right? As sleeper cells that are about to take action on America from inside out. What does the Bible say? That the Lord will raise up against Babylon and will send fanners or strangers that shall destroy her and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. It goes on in verse 4. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. So when this war kick off, man, and it already has kicked off, and your pastor ain't telling you nothing about this, but you're about to see people in the street of America getting thrust through. Why? In verse 5 it says, For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power, of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. You see? So Israel hath not been forsaken. And all these wars that's coming up on this earth right now is because of us and for our sake that the Lord is destroying these nations by raising them up to fight against one another. You see? Even though pursuant to Psalms 83, they all made a covenant to come up against us and make us forget who we are and have us in bondage, that time is quickly becoming past tense, man. And now the Lord is raising them up against their own selves to destroy them so that we can be lifted out of this. Verse 6 says, Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. That means flee out of the philosophies and the religions of America so that you can be delivered by the Most High, man. For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. So America is going to be destroyed. How long we been telling y'all that, man? You're about to see it now. It says in verse 6, Flee out of the midst of Babylon. How long we been telling y'all that, man? It says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that had made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. Because America is the one pushing out this homosexual agenda, pushing out this feminism agenda, pushing out this, batty boy agenda, this pedophile agenda, this Christianity agenda. All of them are one and the same, man. This democracy agenda. All of it is just lies and deceit. Verse 8 says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. You see that? So the title of this lesson is, I will stir up the Medes. World War III. Israel versus Iran. And like we brought out in that lesson, America will lose the next war. And there's about to be a draft coming on the scene, man. They're about to be drafting teenagers all the way up to 40-year-olds. Men, women, and children about to be drafted to go and protect those so-called Jewish people. And all of you Negroes in the army, y'all are lost, man. Y'all are wicked as hell. You see, you hate your own people. Even Muhammad Ali explained to y'all that he ain't going to fight no other brown people when he can't even get equality and justice in America. But y'all wanted, a free meal or benefits, right? To go and put on a uniform and look sharp. And you women wanted to also be involved in that, you so-called black women. Well, guess what? Now you're going to be drafted. Congratulations to all the feminists out there, because you're about to bust through that glass ceiling of being a frontline soldier. You check it out? Because women will be drafted for World War III. Why you think they made you equal for? To destroy you. Because that's totally against the Most High. Period. Y'all want equality so much? Well, here's your chance. We shouldn't hear no whining from y'all either, because y'all want to be doctors. Y'all want to be lawyers. Y'all want to be judges. Y'all even want to be pastors and ministers, right? Well, guess what? Now you get to be a minister of war. You see that? But I digress. Tell you one thing. Those Iranian women, they're not going to be fighting no wars. They know that that's the men's job to go and die for their people. But y'all just want the benefits of the military. And when it comes to war, you're crying like a bunch of children. Anyway, y'all better wake up and find out what time it is, man, because this time of trouble is rapidly approaching. By the time 2024 reach, the whole world is going to be descending into chaos, man. We witnessing a poly crisis, food shortage, fertilizer shortage, fuel shortage, banking crisis, shipping crisis, digital currency coming on the scene, another pandemic, civil war about to break out in America, right? Pestilence, the problem in the Panama Canal, the healthcare workers strike, the situation in Haiti, Russia, Ukraine, China, and now we have this war busting off between Israel and Iran. So, brothers and sisters, it's time to repent if you haven't already done so. Repent. And for you brothers in the house of Israel who know that you are Israelites, you better try and make your calling and election sure, because you're running out of time. Because when this war pop off, it's another lockdown. And you ain't going to be able to go out on the street and do no work. That's why Yahweh Shai said in John 9:4, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. You see that? And if you ain't doing no work, that means you are an unprofitable servant. And you're going to get cast out into outer darkness and be weeping and gnashing of teeth, like you talk about in Matthew the 25th chapter, the 30th verse. So we blowing the trumpet in Zion. We blowing the trumpet in Zion to let you know that all hell is about to break loose. And whatever oil you have in your lamp, that's what you're going to have to contend with. Because when SHTF happens, what you going to do, man? The title of this lesson is, I will stir up the Medes. World War III, Israel versus Iran. It's high time to wake up out of sleep, brothers and sisters. It's high time to wake up out of sleep, ladies and gentlemen. Time to choose which side you're going to be on, like Joshua 24:15. Time to be either hot or cold. Because all of you warm Israelites, the Lord is going to spew you out of his mouth, like it talk about in Revelation 3:15. To whom much is given, much is required. And if you listen to this lesson, that means you know the truth. So where are your works, man? Like we said before, even if you can't bring out a lesson, you could put out a YouTube video and show your face on the video and say, I'm a Hebrew Israelite, and I'm encouraging you other Hebrew Israelites, Lord willing, to trust in Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Right? You could do that. You don't need to bring out a whole lesson. You could just show your face and make a stand so that the whole world will have record of you making a stand instead of being a wishy-washy, weak Israelite. You understand? Matthew 10:33 says, But whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven. I had some guy a few years ago asking me to make a video, and when I invited him to be a part of the video, he was like, well, no, I can hold the camera. It's like, what? You never heard of a tripod, bro? So you ashamed of the Most High, right? That's what it is. You don't want to show your face, right? But guess what? You're denying the Most High's Son. And when Yahweh Shai deny you before his Father, that means you're going to be destroyed. You and your household. He who hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. Because I'm not out here speaking my own words. And if I am, prove it. Right? And I'll take down the lesson. Make your calling and election sure. 2 Peter 1:10. Hope and pray that you're part of the elect. You have a bunch of boys talking about they're the chosen ones and trying to bring out some kind of messages for the chosen ones. Well, guess what? You thinking and saying that you are the chosen one means you ain't the chosen one. 2 Corinthians 10:12 says, For we dare not make ourselves of the number. or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves. But they, measuring themselves by themselves and comparing themselves among themselves, are not wise. And nearly all of those folks who talking about chosen ones and, hashtag chosen ones, they ain't got no street ministry and they ain't standing up against the wicked of this earth. But I digress. Pray for faith. Pray for endurance. Pray for the destruction of our enemies, which has already commenced. The Lord is stirring up the Medes for World War III, Iran against Israel. So I don't want to make this lesson any longer. We're going to see how this thing unfolds, but just expect, all these things to come to pass, man, like the Bible has prophesied. And if you don't believe in the Bible, well, you will believe in due time, but it's going to be too late at that time. And if you don't plan to get drafted, you better figure out a way to get out of that because, anyway, Lord willing, this lesson has been edifying, relevant unto salvation for the hopeful elect, giving our praises, glory, and honor to our power, Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, thanking them for another day, another breath of life, and for this war kicking off in the valley of Jehoshaphat. And with that, we say Shalom.